Hey everyone, Matt Thomas here. Thanks for watching. So I want to talk about why, as a teacher, when you ask your ELD students or English language learners, when you ask your ELD students a question, you may not get the response or the answer that your ELD students really want to give you. And let me explain. So when a person's learning a new language, it's much easier to learn that language if the vocabulary exists, the vocabulary that they're learning exists in their native language. The issue is this: English has over 170,000 words. Spanish has about half that. Tagalog has about 1/6, 30,000 words. Thai has only 3,000 words. And so if you're a teacher and you're trying to teach a word to a student, and the student does not have that word in their native language, the difficulty is now that student has to create this entirely new concept of the word, entirely new definition. It has to create this definition in their mind, right? Because they don't have that word to connect to in their native language. So if they don't have that word, they're going to most likely give the closest word that they have in their native language. So for example, let's say I'm an art teacher and I want my students to use the word majestic, right? So majestic is in English, it is in Spanish, it is not in Tagalog. So if I have a student from the Philippines, new English learner, and I have a picture there and I'm looking for the word majestic, and my student doesn't have majestic in his native language, so he comes up with the closest word that he can think it kind of means, and he says pretty. Now, does majestic, can it mean pretty? Is the impact really there? If you grew up with the word majestic, you know the different definitions it could mean, that in context it can mean so many different things, the level, the depths of level, all that stuff. But the student said pretty. And so you're like, huh. Now before you go, Matt, just teach the vocab words, right? Just teach, we're trying to teach academic language, right? But again, if that word is not in the student's native language, now the student has to create an entirely new concept and definition for him or herself to be able to connect something to, right? That's the challenge. So, as a teacher, I'm a big believer in grading based on intent. So if I'm a science teacher, right, and I ask a question, I'm limited, the EL students are limited in their responses by what words they know in both their native language and in English, their new language. So if you have your student respond and they're giving you their best response in English, grading based on intent can be equity in grading, meaning you hear it and you're like, okay, I don't hear all the words I'm looking for, but I kind of think you know what you mean. I know what you mean. The intention's there. They can still earn the A. Or allow your students to answer in their native language, typing it out using translation tools, or just typing the answer out, translating it to English, and then giving you the answer that way. That way they're at least, if they know, that way you're grading, you're focusing on the knowledge of the content and not the knowledge of the language. So especially in science, right? If the EL student's like, I know this answer in my native language, I just can't say it in English, allow them to respond in their native language, typing the answer out and then translating to English. That way you really truly can, grade them on the knowledge of the content. Thank you for watching.